This is Food Network Challenge Disney Classics Cakes.
4 of the country's best cake artists have 8 hours to create cakes inspired by 4 of the most popular Disney films of all time.
So you're talking about Pinocchio and Mary Poppins and Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. Everybody knows these movies. Everybody loves them. Everyone is going to know if these guys get it right or not.
To win $10,000, the competitors have to get every detail right and impress the judges.
They're gonna say, Lauren's been working on her cake a long time. Has not started Mary Poppins.
I can't believe that Lauren hasn't started Mary Poppins yet.
I had no idea how awful finishing a cake of that kind of magnitude would be in 8 hours. I just wanted to crawl under the table and suck my thumb.
The Queen kind of reminds me of Carrie Vinson a little. Slightly scary.
Turned up nose. I don't have a turned up nose.
Literally or figuratively.
Really, it's a fairly silly statement to start off when you're talking about a judge that's going to judge you. I can be the evil queen if she wants.
Welcome to Food Network Challenge Disney Classics Cakes. Generations of kids and their parents have grown up loving Mary Poppins, Pinocchio, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty. The challenge here is that 4 of the country's top pastry chefs have to turn those classic Disney movies into cake. And that, my friends, is no small feat. We're talking about Disney classic movies here. I mean, everybody knows these movies. Everybody loves them. Everyone is going to know if these guys get it right or not.
You have to make your piece look like the Disney movie that you're creating. We have to get everything perfect.
The one who can pull it off at the end of the day is the one that's going to take home $10,000.
My name is Richard Ruskell. I work at Montage Beverly Hills in Beverly Hills, California. This is my 7th challenge. I think what keeps me coming back more than anything is the fun that I have doing them. I have won twice.
Richard Ruskell.
I'm kind of on a winning streak, so who knows? My movie is Pinocchio. Pinocchio is a marionette created by Geppetto. The Blue Fairy grants him the ability to become a real boy if he does good things. We are taking the scene where he is singing the song I've Got No Strings, and he's walking down the steps right before he tumbles and falls onto the stage. Jiminy Cricket is there. We have Figaro and Cleo to cheer him on, and he's about to take his first steps down the stairs. Some might consider me the front runner, but I don't ever think about that.
Richard's a great guy, and I can't wait to beat him. My name is Grace Chun, and I own Sweet Gems Cakes in Huntington Beach, California. I have been on the Food Network Challenge once before. It was the Dr. Seuss cakes. It was a great experience. For this competition, I chose Sleeping Beauty as my cake. Sleeping Beauty was my favorite movie of all the Disney classics. It's about a princess named Princess Aurora. And she gets cursed by a wicked fairy named Maleficent that when she turns 16, she will prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die. Her 3 fairy godmothers decide to take her into the forest and raise her as their own daughter in order to hide her. The name of my cake is Princess Aurora's Magic Forest. It is a scene from the forest where she loves to play and sing with her in her beautiful princess outfit, that beautiful pink flowy dress, and the 3 fairy godmothers. I feel more confident this time, but I also feel more nervous. I really want to win.
My name is Ashley Vicos, and I am the owner of a private cake studio called Sweet Ashley's in Atlanta, Georgia. I specialize in special occasion cakes. I do a lot of custom 3-dimensional replicas of things. I've never been on a challenge before. I'm very, very excited to be here. We'll see how it goes. I grew up watching Disney movies, and I have got the movie Snow White. The story of Snow White is about a queen, and she quite frequently went to a mirror and asked the mirror who was the fairest of them all, and apparently Snow White was. So the queen tries to knock her out of the picture by taking just one bite out of an apple. The name of my cake is Just One Bite, and we are doing the queen in Snow White holding out an apple in her hand. We're gonna do miniatures of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. If I don't get Snow White right, then I can basically just kiss the whole thing goodbye.
My name is Lauren Kitchens. I'm the owner and executive chef of Fancy Cakes by Lauren in Dallas, Texas. We do mainly wedding cakes and large event cakes. This is my first time on Food Network Challenge. My cake is Mary Poppins. It's just kind of this strange creature that floats in with this letter that the kids wrote to hire a nanny that they've torn up, put in the chimney, and it's blown up into the sky. And she's come in to fix this broken family. The name of my cake is Mary's Keepsakes because there's so much going on in that movie and there's so many great characters, but I don't have time to represent all those characters. So I thought, what are some of the things that she would keep from this experience? So maybe she would keep Bert's broom, maybe she'd keep the top of a chimney, maybe she'd keep the family's kite, and Mary Poppins is coming out of the chimney. And then all of the other keepsakes are gonna be in the bag. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I chose the only live action character from all this list of movies. My challenge is making Mary Poppins look like Mary Poppins. And of course, it's on TV, so I'm really nervous.
These competitors have 8 hours to complete their Disney Classics cakes, and their time starts now.
When Keegan started the competition, we just raced and pulled the cakes out. It was just go, 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 go.
At the beginning, I started stacking the cakes and rolling out fondant. Kristen started to work immediately on Pinocchio.
I think I might have made his face too long. Like between here and here.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's too long.
If Pinocchio doesn't look like Pinocchio, then we're not going to win. And I think that probably added to the stress that Kristen was feeling.
Snow White. Snow White. My assistant's name is Pat Jacoby. Pat is going to start off by doing the cake stacking and carving of the bottom portion of the queen's skirt. I started on Snow White. I started modeling her from the beginning. She was a very important character, so I wanted to make sure that I took the time to get her right. She's a realistic, beautiful character, not cartoony and fun like the dwarfs. We will have a nice cake at the end of this day.
We will.
Whenever you go into a competition and there are new people, it's always kind of that X factor going on, and you don't know how good they are. They could be fantastic cake designers, and you don't even know it. You could lose from the very beginning and not even know it.
I think an advantage of going up against Richard is that he doesn't know what to expect. Then he'll get to meet me, and then he'll be scared. The queen kind of reminds me of Carrie Vinson a little. Slightly scary.
Wasn't that thoughtful?
I'm sure Carrie has a good sense of humor, but you don't want to get on her bad side.
So this is Disney Classics Cakes. We've brought 4 pastry chefs from around the country to recreate all of our favorite Disney movies in cake. You know, in a lot of ways, this is sort of a celebration challenge, and here's why. Because Disney is taking the time to restore a lot of their really classic movies. So you're talking about Pinocchio and Mary Poppins and Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, all being restored thanks to new technology, which means we've got a whole new generation of people who will be able to appreciate all the Disney classic movies that we all know and love. So of course, we've got an expert panel of judges here to score this challenge. Hall of Fame sugar artist and cake designer, Carrie Vincent. Owner and executive pastry chef of PC Desserts in New York City, Patrick Costin. And general manager of Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment, Lori McPherson.
The cakes are going to be judged on artistic value, technical merit, and representation of theme.
I'm going to be looking at the characters and making sure that they look like the characters that people love, and just making sure that the cake is a great representation of the movie.
We knew we were going to be spending a lot of time on this carpet bag because it was a really important piece. We didn't fill our cakes. We wanted to save time, and so we skipped the step of the buttercream. Yeah, it's the first time we've ever done that, to not put filling between the layers.
What is it you're building?
We're building the bag right now.
So Patrick comes into the kitchen, and he's a hard guy to read. You know, he doesn't say much. He doesn't show much expression. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're dead. I don't know what. Is he upset about something? Does he think we've done something wrong?
Their cakes are very unorthodox. They just have cakes and cardboard, no filling in those cakes, and that's very strange.
I think sometimes rookies come in the first time and think it's all about the sculpture, and it's not about the integrity of the serving of the cake.
Right.
In the real world, we would expect filling, and there is none.
Yeah, I'm happy with this.
Looks good.
In Kitchen 3, we have Grace, and Grace has done challenge before. She's very proficient with figurines, and today she's doing Sleeping Beauty. And one thing I like about her piece right now is it has a lot of surface area. She's gonna have a large tree made out of cake and Sleeping Beauty on the side.
I chose that scene because it was so animated. Sleeping Beauty is a very graceful, beautiful, light, airy princess. I have a little problem because the Sleeping Beauty sketch shows Sleeping Beauty in her pink princess gown out in an enchanted forest. That's not really what happens in the movie. That's not really even an iconic scene. Certainly the most iconic is when Sleeping Beauty has pricked her finger on the spindle of the spinning wheel and she's fallen asleep. And of course Prince Philip arrives and he leans down to kiss her.
Not only is she wide awake, but she is skipping through the forest. So I'm wondering, will we really know it's Sleeping Beauty if it's just a blonde girl tripping through the forest?
Are you done with Snow White?
Yeah, she's pretty much done. We're gonna do a few more finishing touches once we put her on the cake.
So in Kitchen 4, we have Ashley. She's a first-time challenge competitor. She seems very confident in her abilities, but Ashley's really gonna have to turn the speed today to replicate Snow White, the Seven Dwarfs, and the Queen.
I started working on the Queen's torso. We chose to do that out of rice cereal. Words of wisdom or otherwise?
No, nothing at the moment.
The Queen kind of reminds me of Carrie Vincent a little. Slightly scary. And very intimidating. Thinking about asking Carrie to stand still and hold an apple for me just so I can get some correct proportions.
She reminds you of me.
Yeah, a little bit. We've been calling her Carrie.
Wasn't that thoughtful?
Can you upset the judges? Is that allowed? Is that smart? That's probably a better question. Is that so smart? Probably not.
Really, it's a fairly silly statement to start off when you're talking about a judge that's going to judge you. However, that being said, I will judge the work and I will not care one way or the other what she thinks.
I'm sure Carrie has a good sense of humor, but you don't want to get on her bad side.
In our timeline, I had given Kristen an hour and a half to make Pinocchio. I thought that was plenty of time. So Kristen, I look at the clock, your hour and a half is up on Pinocchio. I see a body.
Body, the head.
I know the head's in the fridge, and I see no legs.
They'll have them in just a minute.
I thought, oh no, we can't start getting behind. The clock is ticking down. You're just thinking this is taking too much time. This is taking way too much time. We have to get this done. Just like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. The torch is giving me trouble. It doesn't stay lit. It would stay lit for like 2 seconds and then go out. A little bit of panic set in. If this is going to be what I have to do, I am never going to get this stuff done.
This is Food Network Challenge Disney Classics Cakes. Today we have 4 top pastry chefs making cakes that represent 4 classic Disney films. 3 of the 4 of our pastry chefs will be replicating animated themes: Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Pinocchio. The 4th pastry chef will be recreating a live-action film in Mary Poppins. These movies are so well known around the world, and they're really gonna have to nail these characters.
I've been watching Mary Poppins like crazy. I'm trying to get as accurate as I can. And so the biggest problem I've had is her carpet bag, because that's a big cake in my piece. Heather, you and I have never worked on the same cake at one time. This is crazy. But it was a critical piece. It was the bottom of the cake. It was what everything was in and sprung out of.
They're gonna say, Lauren's been working on her cake a long time. Has not started Mary Poppins.
I can't believe that Lauren hasn't started Mary Poppins yet. That's going to be a really difficult artistic piece to create.
Well, I hope she finishes, because a Mary Poppins cake without Mary Poppins isn't going to be very compelling.
It's true.
Can I have a moment?
Kristen was finally finished with Pinocchio.
Pinocchio looks like Pinocchio.
I'm so proud. I was really happy with how it turned out. I decided to go do the sugar work. Jiminy Cricket is pulled sugar, and Cleo, the fish, is also pulled and blown sugar. To do Cleo, you have to put her in a fishbowl, so I thought I would start with the fishbowl first. It was actually a fairly easy piece. It's just blowing one big ball and then cutting the top off of it. After I had blown the fishbowl, I had to get it off of the air pump. And so I thought, well, I'll whip out this new torch and use it. But it didn't work. It would stay lit for like maybe 2 seconds and then go out. I have to keep lighting it. I'm lighting it. I have to use a torch a lot doing this. And if this is going to be what I have to do, I am never going to get this stuff done.
One of my strengths is my sculpting skills. I have a knack for it. I don't know how, but I can do it. I think the most impressive feature of my cake will be the details in the faces, because I feel I can get them as close as possible to the actual characters.
The fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, they definitely seem to be turning into the fairies that we all know from the movie.
She's really good at doing these small little characters. I just hope that they're all not too small and the trees take over.
Heather, I'm starting Mary Poppins. Can't believe it. Finally. Wish me luck.
I know that Lauren has the daunting task of making Mary Poppins, which is a real human being. And if she can do that, then give her the $10,000, because I don't think I could.
I needed to put all of my focus on making Mary, and especially the face. I knew that it was absolutely critical that the face look exactly like Mary Poppins. I had no idea how hard that would be. But you know what, I'm not gonna complain, because I actually chose Mary Poppins. I just used every skill and every trick I had in the book, and I just did the best I could.
Turned up nose. I don't have a turned up nose.
Literally or figuratively.
Carrie might not like my cake, but Carrie will come to love me.
I don't mind being the evil queen. I can be the evil queen if she wants.
I really liked Ashley's concept. Of all the concepts, I thought that it was the one that really got the whole essence of the movie and put all the important characters in it.
For a rookie, I'm impressed with some of the things she's doing right now.
Absolutely.
But she's spending a lot of time on the Queen and Snow White. She has 7 more dwarves to go. I don't think she's going to give the 7 dwarves the amount of time that they need as well.
The Queen and Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. That's 9 characters that we're planning on. That's not easy to do.
Silly thing again. I'm finishing up Cleo, the fish. I guess I felt some kind of pressure to win, but the whole point was to make a beautiful cake, to get it done in time, and not be frazzled. The torch is giving me trouble. It doesn't stay lit. It's always the stuff that you're not expecting, like the torch. Things like that, you're like, oh my gosh, why is this happening? It's slowing me down considerably, because I could easily be done with this. A little bit of panic set in. I was still very worried.
I felt like I was on track with the game plan until the hand. What looks like a normal hand, when I was modeling it, turned into the hand of a giant. Look at her, look at her.
Yeah.
At that point, panic set in.
So we're at the halfway point of Disney Classics Cakes, and we've got 4 pastry chefs here to design cakes that must look exactly like Disney classic movies. We're talking about Pinocchio, Mary Poppins, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty. We've got 4 competitors who really run the gamut of experience and challenge. Surprisingly, at the halfway point, it's really anybody's ballgame. In Kitchen 1 with Lauren, she's up against the challenge of making a cake look like a real person because she's going after a live-action movie, Mary Poppins. But we don't know Lauren well enough to know where her skill set truly lies. And she just might be a great sculptor, and she might have a unique ability to take reality and sort of tweak it a little bit and make it work in this cake. I've got some concerns simply because she's new and time management will be an issue. And already I see her spending a bunch of time on a carpet bag. What do you want it to be about? Do you want it to be about Mary Poppins or do you want it to be about the carpet bag? Richard, I believe, is feeling pressure because here's the thing, he's got a bit of a target on his back. He's done the most challenges, he's done Disney Challenge, he's got expertise in the most mediums of anyone else. He knows, like, I gotta deliver. In Richard's kitchen, I noticed him having a lot of problems with his butane torch, his blowtorch. It's critical because his figures are so small. You're talking about trying to hand press a little crack in the face of Jiminy Cricket. You need a little baby torch to do that, right? It's going out all the time. It's a massive distraction. And if he loses focus, time management goes down the tubes, his confidence goes down the tubes. That's not a recipe for $10,000. Grace is doing Sleeping Beauty, and I must confess, I don't recognize her scene at all. I don't get it. She's not sleeping. Looks like a woman in 2 trees in a field. Have I seen Sleeping Beauty, the character, come out and amaze me? Not a bit. Big problem. Not many new competitors surprised me, and Ashley has surprised me. And here's why. I don't think anyone would have faulted her for going a little bit more simplistic in her first challenge, but she didn't. But I'll tell you what, Ashley's got a way with characters, man. It's impressive. The issue is, will she finish on time? I mean, she's got to make 9 characters in 8 hours. I'll tell you what, though, if she delivers, she's going to walk away with 10 grand. I mean, it will be a massive upset.
I'm finally starting on my first dwarf.
All right.
But since they're only about 3 feet tall, I figure I'm probably right on time. What do you think?
That's right.
The dwarfs are more cartoony. I knew they wouldn't take quite as long, and my plan was to knock them out much quicker. I was thinking that they would take about 20 minutes apiece.
She's putting a lot of pressure on herself. She's got that down to 2 hours and 20 minutes. But you know how it goes in challenge. Something is going to go wrong. That 2 hours and 20 minutes is quickly going to become 3 hours.
I looked at Ashley's kitchen and all I saw was stuff. I couldn't even see the table. And 2 ladies running around and chattering.
I can't really see very good from here. There's a giant forest of trees in my way.
Grace was the only one that I was able to talk to, and I couldn't see anything through her gigantic tree that was obstructing my view. I think it's a tree trunk, I'm not sure. The giant gray structure.
I chose as a color of the trees the same color that I found in the movies, which was like a silvery gray. The trees weren't intended to be realistic at all. They were supposed to look like a Disney tree.
Grace is absolutely charging ahead with all of her characters, but I'm still not absolutely sold on the trees. They still look kind of heavy and bulky. I think she's relying on her characters overpowering and overwhelming the actual forest structures.
I think that's one of the hard things about the concept that she created is that since you just have Aurora in this forest, which, not to dwell on it, but isn't an actual scene from the movie, it becomes almost interchangeable because you also have Cinderella in nature with the birds, and you have Snow White who goes out into the forest with birds, so it lacks a certain personality.
I've been using more of the lighter than the actual torch. Jiminy has so many small little parts to him, and I had to do it all with a lighter. I tend to get nervous if things take too long or longer than they're supposed to take. I just wish that I didn't have to use this lighter. It's just such a pain.
I was really impressed by Richard's attention to detail. The characters that he's done so far look amazing.
His Jiminy Cricket with the cigarette lighter shows the manner of the man, that he can use any resource to get the job done.
We have 4 kitchens, all doing figurine work, and they're really, really high quality. They're really, really good.
One of the things that Lauren's doing, which I would think would be extra challenging, is that she's doing a Mary Poppins.
She's actually a whole lot better than I thought she might be as a rookie.
Best way for me to do the eyebrows is like the eyelashes. Just use fondant so they'll stand off from the skin. You know, I'm not a character artist, so I couldn't get it to look exactly like Mary Poppins from the movie, but it looked like a pretty woman. Oh, yeah. That's all I needed it to be. That's the best I could do. I've done the face, I'll do the body, and you're doing the stencil for the chimney. Yes. Awesome. Heather and I both worked on the chimney, and I'd hand cut a stencil with all the chimney bricks in it.
It's an easy way to make a brick wall.
And you're just going to peel the whole thing away? Wow.
Good stuff.
The judges love that. We even got a wow out of Patrick when that stencil came off the cake.
We've seen a lot of brick walls in our time, and some very bad ones, but that's pretty good.
I heard, oh, I've never seen this in challenge before, and we were feeling good. We were like, oh my God, we could win.
I felt like I was on track with the game plan until the hand.
Her hand looks a little bit big for her body.
By the time we got the rest of the cake stack, I realized that my proportions were very off, and what looked like a normal hand when I was modeling it turned into the hand of a giant.
Look at her, look at her.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I really did not know by making another hand if there would be time for a second hand to dry. So at that point, panic set in.
The more I look at Mary Poppins, the less Mary Poppins is looking like Mary Poppins to me.
I felt like we had 3 hours of work left.
Competitors, stop your work.
I just wanted to crawl under the table and suck my thumb.
All right, the competitors have got 1 hour left in Disney Classics Cakes.
We had 1 hour left. Things were not looking good. We made the hand all over again. It didn't have time to totally dry. There just wasn't enough hours left in the day for that hand to completely dry.
Oh, gosh.
Ashley's having a humongous problem because she made the hand too big, and now she's had to make a new one.
Now, how are we going to glue this together?
I could start to see a bit of panic come into her face.
That's a huge thing, because with this amount of time, I don't know if that hand is going to be dry enough to put on the piece without it just falling back down. And it has to hold the apple.
Because that is the iconic moment.
Without that hand and that apple, we weren't in contention at all.
Oh, gosh, I'm breaking the apple on the top. Oh, man.
I was looking at the clock. I'm still not finished with Mary Poppins, and everybody seems a lot farther along than we are. But I was getting tired, and I was getting a little panicky.
This is her first time out, and I think she's in that kind of, how am I going to energize myself to get out of this well that I'm in?
Well, her drawing had so many really specialized details from the movie that it'll just be a shame if she doesn't get to them.
I'm doing the writing on the back. I have Pinocchio stage left on one of the flats. I've got Stromboli Productions on one. In past competitions, I've always gotten accused of not having a 360-degree point of view. So this one, I wanted to make sure that you could see something walking around the entire cake. I wanted to have the back of the stage look like a bunch of stacked costume crates, have the marionettes just kind of thrown every which way. And she's in a big tangle right now. I was really happy with how it turned out.
The one thing in looking at Richard's, it didn't seem as tall as some of the others. Is it tall enough?
I said to him this morning, very first question, now Richard, will this be 36 inches tall? Oh, absolutely no sweat. We will see.
These are the supports to make the fairies fly. I'm going to hang them with invisible thread. The hardest part about hanging the fairies on the branches was tying the thread in knots because it was so clear I couldn't see it. I had them facing each other so that your eye would be drawn towards Princess Aurora.
That's the double high five. They stayed on.
I was looking around and everybody was just hurried and rushing to finish their cakes, and I thought, maybe we should have done a little bit more.
We got to do something to cover up the board. I had no idea how awful finishing a cake of that kind of magnitude would be in 8 hours, nonstop.
The more I look at Mary Poppins, the less Mary Poppins is looking like Mary Poppins to me.
Well, I think that now the proportions are off.
I felt like we had 3 hours of work left.
I've got to redo these, at least one of the hands, because I rushed through it, but that's not a good hand, neither one of them.
I just wanted to crawl under the table and suck my thumb.
The hand problem did slow us down for more than one reason.
Oh, jeez.
Damn it. Here, Pat. At some point, the arm dislocated and came out of socket. We thought the arm was actually going to fall off her body altogether. We pushed her shoulder back into socket and it stayed. Thank goodness. When we finally got the hand on, we could actually kind of see the apple lowering. We were worried about the arm falling off.
We gotta get this thing on the top. Okay. You know, we had like 5 minutes left, and then it just dawned on me that we hadn't put the top of the set piece on. And if we didn't put it on, we would not have met the height requirement. It would have been horrible to be disqualified by something so trivial and so small, the one little detail that would have lost the whole competition for us.
I was scrambling to get the dwarfs finished. There were 7 of them. That's a lot of figures to model in a short period of time. Towards the end, I didn't think I was going to get all the dwarfs done, but I did not want to be somebody who gave up. You'll never find me giving up. Frustrated, maybe. Giving up, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of Disney Classics Cakes. Competitors, stop your work.
I was shocked at how much we got done and put together in such a short period of time.
I looked at Ashley's kitchen and I was in shock. I just saw her as just like this chattering lady, but she has talent. She's got such great talent.
All right, competition time is over in Disney Classics Cakes. But now the competitors have got to get their cakes to the front judging table. So Lauren, are you ready? All right, get her up there. Nice job. All right, Richard, that means kitchen number 2. Ready to go?
Ready.
All right, let's do it.
That's it.
All right. All right. All right, Grace, that's a big piece. Are you ready? No problem. Here we go.
Okay. Go all the way under. 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, whoa, the branches move. Uh-huh. Good. Okay, everybody's good. Everybody's good. Moving on? Yes.
All right, Ashley, you ready for the big move?
I think so.
Let's get your piece to the table.
Moving the cake, I was concerned the arm would fall off, which would destroy any hope of having a successful cake.
Wow. Special effects, man. All right, we've got 4 great cakes on the tables. We're not done yet, though. Now all the competitors have got to go and face the judges.
For
such an iconic piece that's missing just a little bit.
I really wish that you had chosen one of the really memorable moments.
I see it almost like a frame from a film.
The winner of the gold medal and a big check for $10,000.
Richard.
When it came time to face the judges, you're always a little nervous because they say nice things, but they don't hold back.
I think the two of you today, you worked pure sugar magic. It's a wonderful vignette, and I see it almost like a frame from a film.
Richard, I have to say, your piece is stunning from the front. It is really good, but the back is very flat and boxy for me. But I really have to give it to you for the fact that you did your sugar work, and it's very hard to do in the small sizes that you did it today, but you did it with basically a lighter. Congratulations for doing that. That was very challenging.
Yeah, thanks.
I really loved the scene that you chose from Pinocchio. I thought it was so true to the film. I thought the characters looked amazing. But the one thing that I did miss, I would have loved to see Geppetto or the Blue Fairy because they're both so central to the movie.
We didn't use any adults like Geppetto or Stromboli or the Blue Fairy because they're big. And if we wanted to keep it in some kind of scale, Geppetto would be like 4 feet tall.
Welcome to Challenge, Laurel.
Thank you.
Well, you've been a wonderful challenge competitor, and we really enjoyed seeing your work for the first time. Overall, we think that you did a really, really great job. I wanted to reference the carpet bag. It did cost you 5 hours. You sacrificed time that you could have spent elsewhere, but the color of it was absolutely wonderful.
I really liked your brick technique, and I'm pretty impressed with what I see. But you used no filling in your cakes. It was all just cake and board. A lot of pastry chefs do sculpt a lot of cakes. Almost every one of them has filling in it. So that's a big deal for me.
Lauren, I really liked your cake. You had a lot of great detail in there, a lot of things that are very iconic for the movie. One of the things that didn't turn out as well as I'd hoped it would was the likeness to Mary Poppins. She has delicate features. The features on the cake Mary Poppins turned out a little bit thick. I know you spent a lot of time on her, but at the end of the day, Mary Poppins just didn't look as much like Mary Poppins as I'd hoped.
We were happy with the cake. We thought the bag was gorgeous, the chimney was perfect. You know, I was definitely proud. I was really proud, and I think that's what I wanted from this whole experience was to see the cake and be proud of it and to know that it belonged in the competition.
Welcome back, Grace. I loved your fairy godmothers who were swinging around in the trees there. The only thing, it seems that they're facing the back, which is a shame because you're really seeing the back end of them. But you did a fabulous job.
I really like Sleeping Beauty on your piece. I think you really capture her. Her hair is really great, and your facial features on her, outstanding. So you guys did a really good job.
Your cake is beautiful. I really wish, though, that you had chosen one of the really memorable moments from Sleeping Beauty to showcase. There's when she pricks her finger on the spinning wheel. There's, of course, the kiss that awakens her that everybody remembers. It was a little bit interchangeable. It could have been one of the other Disney princess movies, Princess Out in the Woods. So that was a little bit disappointing for me.
I didn't like those scenes. I wanted to do what I wanted. I wanted to do something that I loved about the movie, which was the forest.
I don't know that I've been that scared my whole life. Seriously, I was petrified.
Ashley, for your first time on Challenge, you show an immense amount of promise. One thing about your piece, the apple, I think you could have done just a little bit better apple. The seam on the apple, you can definitely see it's 2 different pieces. And I think an apple is something that is kind of almost simple to pull off. For such an iconic piece, it's missing just a little bit, but you did a really nice job.
Thank you. I think that you captured everything that is wonderful and special about Snow White. You've got the queen, you've got her hand outstretched with the poison apple. Not only do you have all 7 dwarfs, but you managed to really capture the personality of each one. The one thing that I would have changed would have been just the balance between the Queen and Snow White. The movie is called Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. I would love to see a big Snow White and a smaller Queen.
I have to tell you, you did a really great job. When you realized the proportion of the hand was bad, I could see that you were starting to fret, but you kept your cool, kept going, and you replaced it. You did a really ambitious piece, and I think you executed it very well. And she really does look wicked and quite evil, and that's what it was all about.
I was really shocked that Carrie was so complimentary and nice and fair in her assessment of my work, my cake, and the day. I hugged her in the end. That's how shocked I was.
I'll tell you what, we set the bar pretty high today. But at the end of the day, though, I think each cake that the artist did was pretty amazing. And it surprised me because it's not too often that we get new competitors to challenge who can actually give veterans a run for their money.
I didn't know if we had any chance to win this thing, but I was like, you never know. You don't know what's gonna happen.
I'm glad I wasn't a judge today, because today the judges had a really hard choice.
I really honestly did not know who was gonna end up winning.
If you know challenge, you know that only one person goes home with $10,000.
I thought I might have a shot, but I wasn't sure.
And today, it might surprise you.
I just assumed that I hadn't won. I thought, well, one of the new people did win.
So here we go. The winner of Disney Classics Cakes Challenge, the winner of the gold medal, and a big check for $10,000. That winner is Richard Ruskell.
It always feels good to hold a check that's 8 feet long by 3 feet wide, that has your name on it, and $10,000. You know, to win $10,000, you know, come on, it's $10,000. It's great, it's fantastic to win that $10,000. But it also kind of validates what you set out to do.
Richard's cake looked like a scene from Pinocchio. It looked like the classic movie, and it had all of the ingredients of Disney magic. What absolutely sealed the deal for me were those characters. He brought those magical characters to life.
I wanted people to walk up to it and say, that's a beautiful cake.
It's a beautiful cake.
And it's a beautiful cake, yeah.